Jennifer Jenkins broadly divides English into two categories. The term used to describe these two kinds of Englishes, or the phrase that she uses to describe these two kinds of Englishes, is the same, that is, New Englishes. The difference is in the way they're written. One is written with a small n, and the other one is written with a capital N. Let's see what the differences are between these two categories of Englishes. The Englishes with the small n emerged as a result of the first diaspora of British people to North America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc. These Englishes developed completely independent of the influence of the British English for several reasons. One was that the people who used these Englishes, they already came from, or they had already been using different dialects and accents of British English when they lived in Britain. So when they came to these countries, these regions, they continued using the same language. This language, however, was influenced by the indigenized or indigenous languages of these areas, but they otherwise remained completely independent of the influence of the British English. Also, these people used these Englishes, that the accents, dialects that they brought from Britain, as mother tongues. Then we have New Englishes with a capital N. These Englishes were a result of the second diaspora of English, and the second diaspora of English is the spread of English as a result of colonization of different regions of the world by the British rulers. In this part of the world, or the New Englishes which are used in the outer circle countries of the world, English is used as a second language, and it is just one of the languages of the large linguistic repertoire that people who live in these countries already have. So English in these countries is used as a second language, and whereas English in the countries where it emerged as a result of first diaspora, that is, Englishes with a small n, are used as mother tongues. The countries where we find New Englishes with a capital N are countries like Pakistan, India, Philippines, Nigeria, Singapore, etc. One issue which is often argued in the world Englishes is the status of these New Englishes. As to what is how do we value or how do we evaluate these Englishes? It is often argued that these Englishes should be considered in their own right and should not be compared with other varieties of Englishes, which means that they should not be considered on the basis of the differences with the standard British English. One issue linked with the issue of the status of these Englishes is the acceptance of these Englishes by the people in the world. For example, American English is widely accepted by people all over the world as a prestigious variety of English, and is not really compared with the British English as much as the other Englishes are. On the other hand, there is a great deal of reluctance to accept the New Englishes with the capital N and some of the New Englishes from the countries which fall in the first diaspora category. For example, until recently, Australian English was not recognized as a prestigious variety. The outer circle Englishes are still not recognized as prestigious or even standard Englishes because they are not codified, they have not been standardized, etc. The codification of a language means that when you start the process of standardizing the language, and this process starts by following certain methods. These methods include the creation of dictionaries in that particular language, publication of traditional grammar textbooks, and outlining certain norms, rules of use, etc. Since the outer circle countries, outer circle Englishes or the new Englishes with a capital N have not really been codified. For example, we do not have a dictionary of Pakistani English, nor do we have any traditional grammar textbook of Pakistani English. These Englishes are not recognized as standard Englishes.